And it ain't no beef, but Kim is gonna be an MC. And MCs, when they coming back out, a lot of times they like to talk crazy and do what they do.
And refused to pay her. She was the very, very last one.
Type of person to motivate you. He always wanted anyone to succeed. He always wanted everybody to have a better life for themselves. He was just hungry. He just wanted to make the album. If he could get 500,000 fans, he used to say he had be. That's what he used to say. He was like a teddy bear. He was just so cudgy, and I thought he was really nice. And he had this way about him with women. He was different from and ready to die.
In the heart of the 90s, a time when hip-hop was more than music, it was a way of life, two names dominated the scene. Biggie Smalls and Sean Diddy Combs, two titans in their own right, had a relationship that could best be described as complicated. On the surface, it seemed they were inseparable, partners in crime, elevating each other to iconic status in a world that thrived on beats, bars, and street cred. But as Lil Kim's revelations now suggest, the truth about their dynamic may have been far darker, with secrets that still haunt the hip-hop world to this day. Lil Kim and Biggie were lovers, though theirs was never an exclusive relationship. Kim has always been open about Biggie's infidelity and their tumultuous romance. However, despite everything, she saw Biggie as the one man who truly loved her for who she was, not the glamorous star, but the woman behind the fame. Their love was twisted and dysfunctional, marred by abuse and betrayal. Yet, Kim claims there was something real there, something that set Biggie apart from all the others. His sudden death in Los Angeles in 1997 devastated her, but in hindsight, Kim suggests that Diddy's involvement in the events leading up to Biggie's death may have been far greater than anyone realized. Biggie's murder wasn't just a personal loss for Kim, it was a seismic event that rocked the entire hip-hop community. In the midst of the notorious East Coast versus West Coast rivalry, Biggie had become the shining star of Bad Boy Records, a label Diddy had built into an empire. At the time, Bad Boy and Death Row Records were at war, each label representing more than just music. They embodied their respective coasts, with legendary beefs between Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls fueling the tension. When Tupac was murdered in 1996, many feared Biggie would be next, and sadly, they were right. Biggie was Diddy's crown jewel. As the face of the East Coast rap scene, he was not only Diddy's most valuable artist, but his connection to the streets. But as rumors swirled that Biggie wanted to leave Bad Boy Records and establish his own label, things started to shift. Lil Kim now alleges that Biggie's ambitions to escape Diddy's control may have sealed his fate. She hints that Diddy wasn't simply a bystander to Biggie's murder, but may have had a more active role than the public ever knew. Former bodyguard Uncle Ron, who worked closely with Diddy, claimed that he was offered $30,000 to carry out a hit on Biggie. According to Uncle Ron, Biggie should never have been in California the night he was killed. His presence in Los Angeles at a high-profile event, while still recovering from a broken leg, made no sense. Diddy had everything he needed in New York, the best studios, the best resources. So why was Biggie in LA? Uncle Ron suggests that Biggie's attendance at the event that fateful night wasn't just a coincidence but part of a larger plot. But Uncle Ron wasn't alone in his suspicions. Another former bodyguard, Gene Deal, never outright accused Diddy of orchestrating Biggie's murder, but heavily implied that things didn't add up. He pointed to the mysterious street team stickers found on Biggie's rental car the night of his murder. Why were they there? And why did no one question their presence? These subtle hints, combined with Biggie's own ambitions to break away from Bad Boy, painted a picture that was far more complex than the rivalry between East and West. Just before his death, Biggie had inked a $62 million deal to launch his own label, The Commission, which would include Lil Kim and Junior Mafia, taking them all out from under Diddy's thumb. Kim was well aware of Biggie's plans, and it seemed like their future was set. But Biggie's sudden death changed everything. His aspirations for freedom were abruptly halted, leaving Lil Kim devastated and trapped under Bad Boy's influence. In the years that followed, Lil Kim's relationship with Diddy soured further. She had long held onto a grudge, convinced that Diddy knew more about Biggie's murder than he let on. To Kim, it wasn't just about Biggie's death. It was about the abuse and manipulation that she had witnessed firsthand. According to Kim, Diddy had always enabled Biggie's abusive behavior towards her. Diddy, she claims, thrived on controlling not just the men in his life but the women too. And Kim wasn't the only one to witness Diddy's toxic behavior. Over the years, several women in the industry have come forward with their own accusations against Diddy. One of the most striking incidents involved Kimora Lee Simmons, who revealed that Diddy once threatened to hit her while she was pregnant. Then there's Aubrey O'Day, former member of Danity Kane, who exposed how Diddy forced her out of the group when she refused to comply with his manipulative demands. These stories align with what Kim has said for years, that Diddy's empire wasn't built solely on talent and hard work, but on a dark culture of control, manipulation, and abuse. Kim's accusations against Diddy don't stop there. She recalls a terrifying incident involving a dancer who had rejected Diddy's advances. Instead of moving on, Diddy flew into a rage, spewing insults and threats. It got so bad that he tracked her down backstage and turned the confrontation into a full-blown spectacle. Diddy's unchecked power allowed him to behave this way, and the men around him, according to Kim, did nothing to stop it. They protected their own interests, keeping their mouths shut in exchange for their own security and paychecks. But perhaps one of the most painful moments in Kim's life came when she felt Diddy replaced her with Nicki Minaj. The feud between Lil Kim and Nicki Minaj is well documented, a rivalry that's been brewing since 2007 when Nicki's debut mixtape seemed to borrow heavily from Lil Kim's iconic style. As Nicki's star rose, it seemed to Kim that Diddy had chosen Nicki to take her place, something that stung deeply, given their history. Kim had stood by Diddy through thick and thin, and now, with Biggie gone and her career at a crossroads, she felt utterly betrayed. In a public outburst during a Baltimore performance, Kim called out Diddy, accusing him of abandoning her when she needed him most. For Kim, it wasn't just about competition with Nicki, it was personal. She had built her legacy from the ground up, with Diddy by her side. Now it seemed he was using Nicki to erase everything she had worked for. Diddy's attempts to downplay the feud only made things worse. Instead of apologizing, he minimized Kim's feelings, acting as though the entire beef was trivial, when to her, it was a devastating betrayal. Kim was also furious over her portrayal in the movie Notorious, which she felt reduced her to nothing more than Biggie's backup. Watching the film, Kim says, brought back a flood of trauma. She had poured her heart and soul into building her legacy in hip-hop, and now she was watching it be rewritten without her input. The fact that Diddy allowed this portrayal to happen without stepping in to set the record straight was just another blow to her already crumbling trust in him. For Kim, the ultimate act of betrayal came when she learned that Diddy had sabotaged an opportunity for her to work with none other than Michael Jackson. Rodney Jerkins, who was working with Jackson at the time, told Kim that the King of Pop was a fan and wanted her on his next album. But Diddy, who was managing Kim at the time, allegedly stepped in and ruined the entire deal. Kim never even knew about the offer until years later, when Rodney asked why she hadn't responded. It was a crushing blow for Kim, who realized too late that Diddy wasn't guiding her career. He was sabotaging it. Despite all of this, Kim didn't stay silent. She used her music to call Diddy out, refusing to let him erase her legacy without a fight. Public feuds, interviews, and even backstage confrontations followed, with Kim making it clear that she wasn't backing down. And yet through it all, Diddy has remained silent. He hasn't addressed Kim's accusations, leaving fans to wonder, did he really have a hand in Biggie's death? Did he play a role in sabotaging Kim's career? Or is this just another chapter in the complex, messy world of hip-hop? No matter how you look at it, the accusations Kim has made against Diddy are serious. If even a fraction of what she said is true, it's a devastating blow to his legacy. But for now, Diddy stays quiet and the truth remains locked behind the walls of an industry built on secrets, power, and control.